Despite of all the factors which we have discussed, madrasa education in Pakistan is still very popular. It is still, the rough estimate is that the madrasa education in Pakistan still accommodates about 20% of school-going children. Now, why is it that popular? Why is it so dominant in Pakistan? Let's just try to understand that. First of all, we need to understand the political support, the political influence which the madrasa education has within itself. The political role of the madrasa has been the main focus and concern of policymakers, analysts, and the media. By keeping a narrow focus on the madrasa's political role and linkages, one runs the risk of missing out on the broader picture, which is important to develop appropriate policies. First of all, the diversity of institutions. Pakistan's madaris constitute a highly diverse sector in terms of size, financing, level of education offered, theological and ideological positions, and links to the political parties. Access to resources and funding varies greatly among the different schools. Now see, as I said, the political role is very important. Most of the policies are being made by whom? They are being made by the ministers and by the member of the National Assembly, the members of the Provincial Assembly. So they're all what? They're all politicians. And because of their different representations of the political parties, this and that, all the policies which they get to make, particularly for the madrasas, they get to bring a lot of their own baggages with that as well. And because of the diversity of this institution, a lot of different students from different backgrounds are being targeted, are being accommodated. So when the policy is being formulated, lots of different factors come into play. Commonly, Pakistan's madaris are private institutions funded by charity, private donations, and income generated from religious endowments. The Islamic tradition of charitable donations has contributed to the growth of the madrasa sector. Some madaris receive government-administered Islamic alms as well, which we call zakat. So zakat factor is very important because as far as the Islamic principles and Islamic law is concerned, every individual who has the certain amount of assets, the certain threshold of assets, have to give the annual zakat. A lot of madrasas and religious seminaries out there, because they work with the low privileged students, they get to take that zakat and take a lot of help from the private ownerships as well, and also from the government administered organizations. Traders are very important players in this. Traders are traditional supporters of madaris and have contributed to the development and growth of some of the bigger madrasa complexes in Pakistan. Pakistan has a number of big university-style madaris which attract students from all of Pakistan and from abroad as well. A lot of students from countries like Morocco, Sudan, Libya, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, they come to Pakistan and get education here. The majority of Pakistan's madrasas are, however, modest in size and resources. Many are housed inside or adjacent to the local mosques. These madaris are funded by the communities, the local communities of that very region. The local imam is most of the times the common head of the madrasa, and the former students are frequently employed as teachers or on minimal wages. And I think you understand that phenomena really well. As I've already explained, most of the madaris out there, they're not preparing students for life. They are not preparing them the skills which are wanted, which are in demand in the society in general. So what happens is the students graduates and he does not end up getting a job for the longest period of time. So those unemployed students most of the times go back to their religious institutions and start serving there in the capacity of being the teacher or the expert. And because there's so many of them, the wage which they get to make is also bare minimum. Then another factor which accounts for the dominance of madrasa education in the Pakistani context is the Islamic education value. For those who choose madrasa education for themselves or for their children, it provides not only the religious knowledge, but a value system that sets it apart from other non-religious forms of education. Some families choose madrasa education because it is seen as the most appropriate form of schooling, and having a child with a religious degree grants the family the right kind of prestige. And I guess, I'm sure in your surroundings would find a lot of people out there who would pay a lot of value to madrasa and the Islamic education, simply calling it more spiritual, simply calling it more noble, and simply calling it more prayer oriented, right? People equate getting an Islamic education with committing the good deeds. And that is the kind of thinking which has prevailed over the period of time and is still prevailing. Nelson's study of local educational demands in Rawalpindi finds that 41% of the respondents had religious education as their top priority. What does that mean? It means that when Nelson and his team went out in Rawalpindi and asked people about their top priority education for their kids and for themselves, 41% of the people they surveyed or interviewed, they said that they want religious education, Islamic education to be the top priority education for their kids. 41%. That's the majority.